Boyhood memories of savagery return as a widower reaches out to the feral creature that hides in the wood's ancient shadows. Wildwood in the melody. Photograph, Alamy stock photo. Albert Boosie, an aging singer, is used to hearing foragers in the early hours rattling the bins in his backyard. As a widower now, alone, he notices them more. When he goes down to investigate one night, something leaps at him and bites, a different creature from the dogs, rats and deer that usually come dining at his door. He feels strangely hospitable towards this wild attacker, with its damp skin and pungent smell of earth and mold and starch. He is sure it is a boy. All this is established in the first chapter of Crace's 12th novel, a book he did not expect to write and which takes its place among his finest. He had intimated that the Man Booker shortlisted Harvest in 2013 would be his last. The predicament is both grippingly symbolic and intensely real. It deepens and accrues in rhythmic prose that might itself be the melody of the title. Crace loiters in imagination among the strewn rubbish, rootling in a foul cornucopia that does not disgust him. The slime of boiled vegetables, the glop of cake and bread constitute a banquet for his nocturnal looters. Some of these are human, quieter than the other animals and warier. Why are they out with the waste while Boosie is indoors? What kind of mammal can occupy both gutters and villas in the eyes of local developers and dignitaries? The beasts and the poor are like a fowl and must be ejected. What Boosie experiences as a haunting visitation is crudely reported in the papers as an ape attack or even proof of Neanderthals. Boosie is advised to point a shotgun into the darkness of his yard. Thus the battle lines are drawn between the singer and his scheming relative Joseph, who intends to cleanse the town of wildlife and build new apartments. Crace is not minded to be even-handed. Supercilious Joseph is more repugnant than any swine. Crace is a polemical writer, but his writing is too subtly strange to feel like preaching. Where are we? Crace is a past master of invented, almost recognizable places, from Baritone Bay and Being Dead, where the bodies of two lovers lay rotting but still tender in the dunes, to the nameless village in Harvest, deep in the mapped and measured English countryside and yet nowhere particular. His readers are kept poised and puzzling, unable to shake off the impression that some clue will give the game away. It won't. Crace builds his own laboratories, where he is free to bring his elements of interest into new configurations. Boosie's town feels approximately Mediterranean, with its basilica, domes and balconies, though the spacious coast could be American. Boosie's villa, at the end of the promenade, faces the ocean, while behind it rise rock and forest, and the almost wilderness of the bosque. Should we know what a bosque is? The shifty workings of the word are typical of Crace's verbal conjuring. The imagination feeds on the soft, dusky sound of it. Ceres in The Tempest refers to her bosky acres. It is from the Middle English for bush or thicket, so it takes us back into ancient shadows, but here it is redefined on every page as Boosie's complex sense of its beauty, energy and threat emerges. Verbal conjuring, Jim Crace. Photograph, David Levinson. Getty Images. The scavengers feasting in his yard at night have come down from their forest homes, breaching the boundary between the wild and the civilized to snout in Boosie's bins. As a boy he would go with his neighbors to feed the animals with leftovers from the bakery. He remembers the glimpsed gatherings of badgers and ravens, a giant movement among the dark spreading mass of tarbanese and pepper oaks, tamarisks and pines, casuarinas and carob trees. He remembers, most of all, the evening when something touched his face, just a turbulence, or possibly the fluctuations of a bat. It is both substantial and ghostly, enveloping him in a swirling and unstable halo of damp air. When Boosie is attacked at the larder, then, he knows it has happened before. What frightens him is less the intruder than the memory of his boyhood self, clutching a stick and feeling a kind of savagery rise within him, a desire to be among the beasts. Now he has a reputation for tranquility to protect and will not be hitting out at anyone, yet still he feels a potent affinity with the wildwood. In a dream he sees the animals take possession of the streets. Birds lead the way, great scarves of starlings, rooks and sparrows, then silver deer and native cats. Boars dine in the restaurants. The town is alive with feather, fur and hide. How much of the bosque is Boosie's dream world, we cannot know. His encounters with the chimeric wild child may be illusory. The sheltered townsfolk, after all, are bound to dream of lives more raw and passionate. A further episode, with a witness, suggests the creature is there, at least for those who want to see him. What is certain is Boosie's tender sense of kinship with, and responsibility for, the boy who should be rescued and redeemed. In an extraordinary moment, the childless Boosie elects him as his son. 400 years after the aging Prospero acknowledged a thing of darkness, here is the 60-something Boosie reaching out to embrace something fierce and dangerous as his own. This is a myth, a bestiaria ghost story, an elegy, a moral allegory in which halos are obscurings of darkness. Crace is a polemical writer, but his writing is too subtly strange to feel like preaching. The novel is schematic, of course it is, but the scheme is always in question. And though everyone has metaphorical roles to play, they are ordinarily idiosyncratic people, too. Lengthy passages, perhaps too lengthy, follow lonely Boosie's longing for his sister-in-law, his yearning to be salved. The novel slows graciously to his chosen pace and sits in the dusk with him, remembering. Late in the book, the figure of an observing narrator emerges, an unexceptional man who is nonetheless granted all Crace's incantatory linguistic power. He takes modest pleasure in the modest routines of his life. He is most at home in the kind of shoes that should be buffed, and indeed he likes to sit up on the shoeshine podium. Boosie, by contrast, steps barefoot onto flagstones slippery as slugs. This is wincingly, admiringly described, and spends most of the novel with torn trousers and scratched feet. The polished flaneur curiously watches this grown-up urchin. This narrator is extravagant only in the quality of his observation and expression, which is formal, fastidious, luscious, oddly anonymous. It carries the rhythm of Boosie speaking aloud, like an ancient oral storyteller in the gloaming. Telling what a myth, an old tale with wolves at the door, a bestiaria ghost story, an elegy, a psychologically astute self-portrait, a moral allegory in which halos are obscure rings of darkness, an ecological fable for modern times. As for the melody, it began with Boosie's desire to catch in music his love of Alicia, his late wife, when she opened the larder for a snack in the night and caused the little string of Persian bells fastened on the door to tinkle. The work of the melody is to make these chimes of domesticity, warmth and plenty sound in a mobile, infinitely changeable relationship to that other metallic sound, the crashing of the bins. Alexandra Harris Weatherland, Writers Artists Under English Skies is published by Thames Hudson. The Melody by Jim Crace, Picador, £16.99. To order a copy for £12.99, saving over 20%, go to guardianbookshop.com or call 0330-333-6846. Free UK PP over £10, orders only. Phone orders min. PP of £1.99.